But it went from that firm to Shea and Gould. The biggest part of Shea and Gould was whatever you want to win, whatever you want, we'll give it to you if we have the case. First of all, you'll never get a top lawyer. You could never get a top lawyer because, first of all, let's say the brokerage firm, for example. Every top law firm is on retainer. So you have a conflict of interest. You can't take a case against them. You can't.
Yeah, I saw that in The Sopranos when she goes for advice from a divorce attorney. He says to her, I'm sorry, I can't represent you because your husband came and saw me, and he had come and seen every major divorce attorney for 10 minutes before that, a couple of weeks before that, just so that she couldn't use him. It's along those lines, right?
You know how they pay off? Clean. You know what? You want to talk about laundries? The mafia has nothing on them. Nothing whatsoever. I'll tell you how they could pay off. Let's say you have a governor, and he has a son that's an attorney. So the son automatically gets to a beautiful, big law firm, famous. Now, they can't pay the governor, could they? That wouldn't be proper to give him money because then, hey, you take a bribery, special interest. But you could say, I got to retain these law firms for big cases. So you retain the law firm, and you say, well, I'm happy that you have such as, why don't you credit this particular partner or this particular young man? I think I feel he's a good attorney. Yeah. So all of a sudden, he's on retainer for $500,000, isn't he?
Well, but you see, Nick, I understand all of this. I know about one hand washes the other. I know about the patronage system. I grew up understanding all of this. When I was a kid in New York, I saw the assemblyman with the plaques on the back of the car, and I said, what's that about? All of them were little petty bureaucrats. I understood all of that. And I understood that patronage operated in New York and every other city in America. But I'm talking now about the Obama administration and the magnitude of the patronage system and the magnitude of the corruption and the magnitude of the arrogance that we all see. Wouldn't you agree with me that he's ramped up the arrogance magnitude maybe by 100-fold over what Bush was doing?
Of course. All they need is one more Supreme Court judge. They got lock, stock, and barrel. They have it lock, stock, and barrel. All they need is one more. Though they could impeach them if everybody looks at federal law, there's misdemeanors, high misdemeanors. It's impeachable. They won't go to jail for not following the Constitution, but they can.
Well, right. As I said once, although I was not a fan of Bush, I said his greatest legacy may be the two people he put on the Supreme Court, and I still mean that. These are moderate centrists, but it's always given us the 5-4 margin, including on the Second Amendment, all because of Bush. But if, God forbid, that should shift in the next few years, the whole world changes, as you say, Nick. I agree with you on that.
Last decision, but a funny thing is, the last decision that came down in California, which is the most liberal court in the nation, went forth to protect the Second Amendment, and not protect it for any other reason but to protect the people against government, which was a shocking decision. With
no, that decision was by the U.S. Supreme Court. It was the first time the Second Amendment had ever been heard by the Supreme Court, and they heard in favor of the individual right to bear arms, Nick. It was a U.S. federal government. No, it's interesting that you bring up the California Supreme Court because they just had a ruling a few months ago about gay marriage, and in fact, they came out against gay marriage, which was a shocker in the state of California, Nick. I never expected that one.
To control society, the first thing you have to do is create a democracy. Once you create a democracy, you have your mobocracy. You got mob rule. It's like a lynch. There's no protection. There's no Republican. There's no law. That's what the Democratic Party has right now. No law. You could go to New York, for example, or you can go to New Jersey. Every judge is handpicked, and they cross the lines because they're picked. They can't. No one gets in trouble. A judge could get nailed.
All right, so hold on. Okay, I'm listening to you like you're like a friend of mine, a relative. Okay, we're talking real talk. Okay. Let's go back to Governor Spitzer with the hooker thing. Do you agree with me that the bankers brought him down because he was about to crack down on the corruption?
What the heck does going to get laid have to do with this man tearing down these people for their corruption? He was wise to it. I feel sorry for Spitzer, but here's the thing about Spitzer.
No, wait. No. Let's stick to this for a minute, then take a break. I got to come back. Spitzer was dallying around with prostitutes, correct? Don't you agree with me that his political enemies knew this for a long period of time, and they held this over his head, and they only went after him just when he was about to crack down on Wall Street?
He was coming down on Wall Street. He was coming down on Bernie Madoff. He was coming down on all of them. He was building a book, which they call a book.
So why was this governor so naive as to use ladies of the night via credit card in an offshore account? How naive can you get? This is the man who's supposed to be the watchdog of Wall Street. He couldn't even figure out that they were watching him. Stay on the line. I'll be right back.
Savage.
Country is incendiary right now because they smell a rat. The people are not as stupid as Pelosi and company think they are. They try to pull a fast one. They slipped the imposter into office. And then the imposter overreached. And now the imposter and his gang are trying to push a health insurance reform bill. And the people heard first it was health reform, now it's health insurance reform. And they smell a rat because they're saying, wait a minute, what do you mean you're going after the insurance companies with a government insurance company? What is that going to do for me? So let's go back to Nick for a summary. Nick, go ahead, please. You got the last word.
The only thing I could tell you asked me about Spitzer, and I'm going to say very clearly, power is an aphrodisiac. That power went to his head, and he thought he was infallible. But they always have a dossier on everybody, Michael. And
right, but I'm saying but Spitzer was using prostitutes. But instead of paying cash, the guy was using a credit card paid to an offshore account. Doesn't that show a lack of intelligence on the part of the man who was supposedly the watchdog of Wall Street?
But arrogance, Michael. Arrogance, and besides which, people sometimes...
All right, pride cometh before a fall, in essence. The Bible passage applies in this case, Nick, correct? Pride cometh before a fall. Nick, I want to thank you for a very enlightening visit to the Savage Nation. I want to send you a free copy of Banned in Britain, The Fight Against the Liberal Blacklist. Thank you very, very much for your insights. All I can suggest is that you do not go running in Marcy Park. 1-800-449-8255, michaelsavage.com. We are talking about weird but true crimes in the United States of America at the lowest and highest level. When you say a thing like that, it sounds funny. But it's as though we're living through Tammany Hall and Boss Tweed all over again, all gussied up, new makeup, but it's the same story all over again.